Hello rail fans. If you happen to see our last video run to Rice, you'll notice the car that had the KEMPE on it was the last part of that video, as this train M650 was heading towards Montgomery. We wasn't really sure how far we would chase it, but we knew that it was going in our direction back home, so we made the run. If you happen to notice, there was actually two engines. The lead engine and then the second engine was number 2000. Later, we discovered as we got to Boston that this train was the same train, but it somehow looked different. We had never stopped in Argyle and found any spot to video trains, but this was happened to be a pretty decent place, and the way we parked, it was easy to get right back out of there without blocking traffic. And this is absolutely my favorite. Love to take and shoot those videos while we're riding down the road, seeing those trains out there on that track. We're between Argyle and DuPont at this point, heading westbound on Highway 84. 650 going to Montgomery. This was another spot that we had never stopped at, and we happened to be checking these places out, and this was a really good spot too. This is actually M649-13. The one we had chased over to Rice was actually the same number except number 12. We happened to eat lunch, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a minute. When we got to Valdosta, we had to make a bathroom break and stop. I went ahead and topped up the tank, and while we was waiting, we lost 650-13. We couldn't hear anything on the scanner. We didn't hear a scratch about it. So I said, well, I know it's having to go west. We'll just go on over to Thomasville. So we stopped at a place called Rock Bottom Seafood, and it's right off of Highway 84, just as you cross on the west side of Highway 19. If you're in Thomasville, by all means, visit that place. They have the biggest shrimp that I've ever seen served consistently with every meal that we've ever had, and we don't mind the 40-minute drive over to Thomasville to eat there at that restaurant. We happened to get a to-go plate because we were, since we had Hank in the truck with us, we just got him an extra order of hush puppies, and he ate a few fries and one of my wife's shrimp. As 649 was getting permission to go to Boston, there was another person came on the radio and asked the dispatch if he could follow behind them, and it turns out it was a work truck, a high rail, and so when we get to Boston in a few minutes, we'll actually see the guy that was tagging along behind this train here. So we headed back east from Thomasville and pulled in at Boston because we knew that it was going to come through here. That's when we discovered that 650 was here, and so you'll notice something different about 650 in just a few minutes. Sometimes you'll hear in the background me talking to someone. We had the pleasure of meeting a rail fan that was out here with his camera videoing, and his name is Scott. He has and is the Bowline rail fan. He's familiar with this stretch of track and was out there and came over, and we got into a good conversation. And it was a pleasure meeting, and if you're ever out here and you happen to see him, by all means, stop talk to him. He's very knowledgeable about the Bowline, which is the rail, what they call this part of the railroad. We knew that as this train got past that 650 would be making its way on westward, and we were tickled about that, and we was quite ready for it to happen. It was very hot out that day, and of course we keep ice water on our truck. And there's Scott again, the Bowline rail fan. Like I say, he's a really nice guy. Just if you see him out there, be sure and just tell him that you heard me mention him on Trains by Ben. And he did likewise for me already on one of the things that he posted about this very same train. So we really appreciate folks when they're out there to talk to us. We're all in a hobby that we all love, so we may as well just be happy rail fans. Well, here's the tag along. It was a guy in a work truck, and he was about 5 minutes behind them. So it's pretty neat to see these trucks. I did get a chance one time in my career, as in former years when I was on a crew that cleaned up petroleum and gas spills and different things like that. We actually had to build a high rail trailer to help alleviate some of the grease and oil that drips out of some of the locomotives in some yards. So a high rail truck is a real neat thing. See if you notice the difference as 650 is coming by real slow, getting started pulling his train. We found out that when he made his stop in Valdosta, he actually dropped his second engine that was number 2000, and that was why we lost him when we made our bathroom break and topping off the tank break. And when he pulled up here, my wife said, well, hang on just a minute, wait, because she keeps the notes that we use to do these editing during the videos, and she said, look, he's got an engine missing. 650 had got permission to go to Thomasville, and the end of his track authority was actually in the yard at Thomasville. So we decided to head west after we left here, and we went on past Thomasville, and we decided to stop in at Wiggum. We stopped in at Cairo, and we stopped at Climax, and some places between Climax and Bainbridge. We were probably 5 miles from Bainbridge, just searching out spots to video. We happened to come back to Cairo and was searching downtown. We found a museum there we're going back to. When we was in Cairo, my wife said maybe we should walk Hank and let him have a bathroom break before we head back home. And I had, we'd been a long day at this point, and I thought, well, let's just ride back east, and since we can't really tell where 650's at, we heard a little bit of chatter, but we couldn't make out. It was too scratchy, and 650 had got permission. It was coming on west, and we decided to go back east and come home. And as we got about 5 minutes from downtown in Cairo, almost back to 84, we heard the horn blow and happened to see him pass by. So if I had listened to her and let Hank have a bathroom break, we would have got the video of this train coming through Cairo. We thank you for watching to the end, and be sure and look up the Bowline Rail Fan and give Scott a shout out. And until then, see you next time.